it's Karen. I was making a couple of inspiration cards with feathers on them this evening, and I thought maybe I should make another one and show you how I did it. I know a friend of mine was asking for a tutorial on feathers, so this would be a tutorial on loose watercolor feathers. For mine, so this was my inspiration. This was a book that I made last year. And these were beam watercolors in Wintry Night, Glacial River, and Cub Brown. And then I think it had some fairy tale gold dropped in there. So if you're not familiar with the beam paints, that's a Canadian company, and they have mica in them, so they're metallic. If you just want to use normal paints, you could just add some shimmer. Where is it? Oh, you could buy just a simple set of inexpensive metallic watercolors from Amazon or Blick or any of those places. And I really like the gold and the silver on this. So if you don't have the beam, you could try something like this. But for my card, I'm going to use the beam in fairy tale gold because I really like it. So you can either do this on a bigger piece of watercolor paper or make a card like I am. Mine are about 7.5 centimeters by 11 centimeters, which is 3 inches by 4.5 inches. So you could cut up a card, and we could make an inspiration card together. You would just want to leave some room for a quote of some kind. Or get a big piece of paper, but get a couple of brushes, maybe a bigger round and a smaller round, plus a detail brush for some of the wispy stuff. And pick out your paint colors. I'm going to use Masha's blue iron because it's a really cool granulating watercolor. You see how it's got like blue, teal, and almost like a pink in it. So that's what's causing all these really cool effects. So to get a really cool feather, I would try a granulating paint of some sort. Daniel Smith makes granulating colors. Lunar blue would work really well for this. So just play with a couple of colors that you already have. So I'm going to do the blue iron by Masha's. This is how the Masha's comes. She's a artist who makes her own paints, and she's on Etsy. They're really pricey, but they're fantastic. Like, I love them so much. So Masha's blue iron, indigo, and beam fairy tale gold. And then I have these beam Cub Brown, Glacial Rivers, and Wintry Night. And I have some Schminky Haze Brown. So you'll just kind of want to grab a variety of paints, maybe in blues and browns, so we can make a pretty feather. All right, so I'll be right back. See you soon. If you need some inspiration about feathers, either the shape or the colors, you can check out the Feather Atlas on the internet for some ideas. Drawing you're going to need is just to do a basic guide for your feather. So just do a curved line, just so you know where to put the paint to make the shape of a feather. So just a curved line is fine. Okay, so grab a bigger round brush and get some clean water. And we're going to start by just laying down clean water. So you're going to start just with the tip of your brush, and then you're going to push so you've got the belly of the brush. And then you're going to release pressure up to the tip. And then I'm going to do it again because we want it to be nice and wet. And if you're having trouble seeing, go ahead and hold it up to the light and you should be able to see where the water is. And if it's not perfect, that's great because we don't want it to be perfect. Oh, and look, my dogs are going to bark. Sorry. They always do that. I'm so sorry. I'll be right back. So professional. Okay, so while it's wet, I'm going to take my Masha's Iron Blue, and I'm going to just kind of drop it in haphazardly. Not going to worry about it too much right now. And then I'm going to drop in some of this brighter blue. This is the beam paint, here and there. And then some of the cub brown, here and there. Okay. And then I'm going to grab, just really quick, a smaller brush and take some of the indigo and put it at the top of the bottom. And a couple dots here and there. Okay. Then really quickly, we're going to keep moving quickly. We are going to grab, have all your, don't be like me, have all your brushes ready. We're going to grab one of these little texture brushes, and we're going to pull like the feathers out. And you'll see why we're doing this in a second. So pull the feathers out, and then immediately grab another round brush again with nothing but clear water on it, and we're going to soften this edge just with water. Okay, and so it's going to leave these really cool texture marks that we just made at the edge of the feather. And then while that's happening, while this is all still wet, I am going to just drop clear water in here to create some blooms. Okay. So, because what we're kind of going for is something along the lines of this, which is a bloom, which looks incredibly cool. I mean, I like it. But, okay. So, while that's drying, we can just add a few more wisps. And then, so I'm taking the indigo. And this is wet because we added just clear water. So I'm just adding wispy wisps to the edge. And it is looking gorgeous. I really love it. Look how pretty that is. Okay. I'm going to let that totally dry before we start on the other side. So I will see you in a minute. Just a quick note, I forgot to drop the gold in. So it is still wet. So if you hold it up to the light and you can see where it's wet and where it's dry, as long as it's wet, you can add additional paint. So I added some gold, and I'm actually going to add a little more indigo kind of along the shaft of the feather. It was starting to dry kind of like too much uniform color. Okay, now we'll let it dry. I'll be back. Okay, we're back. The first thing I'm going to do now that we're back is, and this is all dry, is I'm going to erase my pencil line. The thing about pencils and watercolor is once you paint over the pencil line, it's very difficult to, if not impossible, to erase. So we want to erase that, but just make sure your piece is totally dry so you don't smear your paint. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side, and I'm going to use the same colors, but we're going to just do a thinner strip of water. So we'll just take clear water again, and maybe a smaller round brush this time, but do it the exact same way. Start with the tip and then press the belly down to get some width, and then lift it back up to the tip again. And if you need to, and just leave the white strip there so you're not actually touching, and go ahead and just hold it up to the light so you can see where your water is, if you got it in the right spot. And grab the same colors that you used on the first part, and we're going to just do the exact same thing. Just drop it in here and there. Don't color it in. Don't make it uniform. Make it kind of messy. Okay. Okay, and we'll do the same thing. Grab your little texture brush and we'll do some wispies on this side. And then we'll grab our clean brush with just clear water, and we'll go ahead and soften this side again, just like we did on the other side. And while we're here, I'm going to take a smaller brush and some dark brown paint, and we'll just go ahead and paint the little shaft of the feather. And then while we're here, and while this is still wet, we can just grab a little bit of paint on our texture brush, just add a few more wispies here and there. They don't need to be everywhere. Okay, and then before I forget, I'll drop some of the gold in there. Again, this is the beam paint in gold and fairy tale gold. And I'm even going to add a little bit of this haze brown just to these edges. I think that's gonna look quite nice, almost like dry brushing. Yeah, that's pretty. Okay, that's gonna look really pretty. And then this is a little more of the Masha's paint. And then just create some blooms with clear water. And we're just gonna let the watercolor do its thing. And then we'll come back and take a look. One thing I do see is I want to add a little more of the indigo at the top here. And one thing I want a little more indigo at the top and bottom of this one. So I'm actually going to wet, I'm going to be brave and wet this whole thing. Just a little strip of it, just so I can add some indigo at the top and bottom. Okay. Okay, we'll let that dry and I'll be back. Okay, we're back. It's all dry. This next step is optional, but I am going to take a flat brush and create a few marks here by lifting up some paint. So you'll need a flat brush, a clean paper towel, and some clean water. And you'll get your brush wet. And we're just going to come in and try to lift some of this off. And I'm going to do it where there's already a little white mark. And then blot. Okay. So you know how sometimes you see feathers and they're missing a chunk? That's kind of what we're going for here. All right, there's that. And the last thing I want to do is add a few more little wispies over here on this side. So we'll come back to our little, and I'm going to just take the blue iron that I was working with. Maybe. And then I'm going to take some of the indigo and just add a few more wispies at the bottom. A few more at the top. Okay, I think that's done. And I didn't leave all that much room to write something, but I'm going to go find a little quote to write on my card because I want this to be an inspiration card. So I need to find inspiring words. Yeah, so I'll be right back. Okay, I found my quote, and I just wanted to talk about your handwriting. I've mentioned this in other videos, but one of the simplest ways you can come up with a nice writing style is just to use how you already write, and then to go back in and just thicken up a line. And then as you write your quotes out, or your poetry or whatever, just be consistent and always thicken up the same line in every letter, and it'll look like a stylized handwriting. So, okay, so I hope you picked out a quote for your card, and I am going to go ahead and write mine. It's a quote from Mary Oliver. Okay, so I have my quote, and the last thing I like to do on my cards is I round the corners using one of these corner punchers, which makes it really quick and easy. And then if you want to give these away as gifts, you can always put a stamp or write your name or a message on the back too, which is always really cute. So I hope you like how your inspiration card turned out. And thanks for coming by. See you next time.